yes, not yes, I'm going to take on a workload that demeans me. Like the yes to adventure, the yes to trying something new, the yes to shit that scares the hell out of you. The adventure part.
That so many people ask me, like, how are you not afraid? Like, how are you able to say yes? And it's like, I am afraid, but I'm more afraid of not taking the adventure.
And the worst thing, someone said to me, they were like, well, what happens if none of this works? Like, what happens if a year from now you're like poverty stricken and it didn't work out? I was a bartender. I could just go right back and say, here's your Guinness, sir. Like it's not like you know what I mean? I can go right back to where I started. I won't ever regret trying this and I don't think I'm going to fail. I think I'm gonna continue to do very well and grow.
Welcome to another episode of Everyday Badassery. I'm your host, Christine Lozada. This is a podcast of travel stories meant to inspire you to be just 1% more badass today than you were yesterday. And I'm so freaking excited because I'm bringing back one of the OGs, one of the first people I had on this podcast, which is Stacey at Hot Flashes and Boarding Passes. And at the young age of 50, and during a time in which the world was falling apart, the pandemic, she chose to move to Tulum, Mexico. Tulum, Mexico is a place where there's a lot of stuff that happens in Tulum. Let's just say that. I'll loosely say that in case you're not familiar with Tulum. And she has been rocking this place for the last 3 years. And I genuinely wanted to know, how has that been for her? Because when she moved there, she had a lot of naysayers telling her she shouldn't go there and this is not the right choice. And she was very true to herself in making the choice to be there. And so let's hear it. The good, the bad, the ugly. What has she been up to and what's next for her? Let's bring her in. I feel like you need no introduction, but
I
Stacey,
do.
introduce yourself. Who the fuck are you?
I am Stacey, aka Hot Flashes and Boarding Passes.
And you have been living where since the pandemic?
Tulum, Mexico.
Which actually, when I first started creating content, you were one of the first people I met and one of the first people actually I ever traveled with.
I know.
That's kind
We've
of like,
both grown so much. I look back at us and I'm like, oh, we were a little like wee little creator babies.
we run the gamut. But at that time, actually, you were one of my first podcast episodes. I was inspired because you really embraced the age ain't nothing but a fucking number, and it's not too late to start. And actually, for those who didn't listen to the first podcast episode, give the quick recap of like how you made the choice to move to Tulum and when you did it.
I was turning 50. I had been a career bartender, and friggin' Bob, his ranch dressing wasn't lighting my little soul on fire. I just didn't. Here you go, sir. Here's another beer. Yeah, no, it was cute for 30 years, and then I was kind of over it.
And you were in Canada at the time, right?
I was in Canada, and then lockdown happened, and I was cooped up in an apartment with my adult son. And I love him dearly, but just not for that many hours a day. And
Actually, you know what I'm curious about?
Mm-hmm.
Did you have supporters in your life about your choice, or naysayers in your life about your choice?
All naysayers.
And what did they say today?
Because you shouldn't. Oh yeah, because you shouldn't be traveling during the pandemic at all.
Yes, of
then
course.
You don't like empty nest your own child.
Oh yes.
Muy peligroso. Like it's dangerous. You don't do that. So, and I was turning 50, so it's not the time to reinvent yourself or go like find yourself. It's a time where you're supposed to buckle down and save for retirement. So everything I was doing, nobody agreed with me.
Yeah. I think about how much more, how much more excessive your situation was than mine, right? Because for me, it was like, oh, like, Christine's going to go try making some YouTube videos. Let's see what happens. And I mean, I had a lot of naysayers in my life who were just like, no, you should stay in the city. You should stay married. You should stay with your condo. You should stay in your career. And it's like, what are you trying to do here? Like, just be someone on social media. And it's like, actually, as a matter of fact, yeah, I am. I am. And fast forward 3 years later, I love hearing how all the same naysayers are like, I knew you should have done that. Like, oh, that was the right choice. Like, you've done so well for you. Look at all the things, the awards you've won, the conferences you've spoken at, the drone work, the projects. I knew you'd be amazing. And I'm just like, yeah, did you know that while you're telling me to sit down and stay in the unhappy life I was in before? Like, oh, F you all.
Oh yeah, your people got to be like, really, girl?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Facts. Okay. So now, fast forward, this episode is being recorded end of 2023. And you have been in Tulum this entire time. And I want to hear
3 years. 3 years.
wild.
I never thought I'd stay here this long. I thought I was just gonna like pop in, sow my wild oats, dabble in this social media stuff, get a little undepressed, have a little adventure, and no, I'm here.
Actually, take us through the journey. Like, at which point did you know you wanted to stay longer than just dabbling? And like, what kept you there?
I think when I saw that a career that I could actually, okay, you can actually have a viable career doing what I do. Was doing social media management, and I was getting clients, and I was really good at what I was doing. And I was like, okay, I can have adventures and work on my own terms. Wow. And live somewhere amazingly beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, girl.
That's a good reason to stay.
And I live and work with dog rescue, and that work there, like in the vampant world of social media, I was like, no, I'm a good egg. I'm like giving back. I'm doing good things in the community. And it felt really good to do that.
You really did pour your heart and soul into what you've done with the rescues. Actually, for those who are not familiar with it, give them a taste of what you do with, and these are not like a one or two dogs. Like, yeah, they're a lot of work. Give us a visual of what your work is like with these dogs.
I live above and work with Help Tulum dogs, and we rescue and rehome dogs in this area. We partner with rescues in Chicago, Portland, New York State, and Toronto. So we rehome them. What we've really focused on is in this region, you can't rescue this problem. It can't be cured that way. So we've been doing the spay and neuter clinics all over the Yucatan and Quintana Roo.
Yeah.
And Tulum has a new mayor.
Oh, cool.
He's a hot little number. He's very, what's that? Oh my God, my brain isn't working. Zoolander. Like he loves the camera. So Zoolander now has decided to partner with us.
How cool.
So the government of Tulum we've been doing a spay and neuter clinic with the government of Tulum each and every month now.
That's a really big win.
First time ever.
Good for you. That's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. And this isn't like a spay and neuter clinic set up in like these beautiful, pristine veterinarian offices.
We're in the jungle. But these ants came into where we were doing surgery and stole a ball sack. Like I'll send you the video later. They went into a little bag and off they were running up the wall. And now we have like some new testosterone-filled ants roaming the jungle.
That's not supposed to be funny. And when you say ball sack, I don't think you're referring to the rubber ball that the dogs play with.
The testicle. Stole a testicle.
I can't say in all of my travels that I've ever seen ants steal a testicle, but
they stole a testicle.
I will review the footage and let you know how I feel about it.
I'll share it with you here. We can put it right there.
I will link this video in the blog post. Actually, I'll make it a non-findable video on YouTube, but linked so that people can find it from the blog post in case anyone wants to see that. I'm sure I'm sure it's kind of upsetting. Anyway, so your work with dogs, amazing. Congrats on the progress that has happened and the partnership with Zoolander. That's pretty freaking amazing. And so you've been doing the damn thing in Tulum. Actually, so let's say, so we've heard some like amazing, like, you know, you choosing to start your social media management career out there, having the adventures, doing the amazing things with the dogs. Tell me a moment when you were like, I need to get the F out of here. You had
Oh,
this? Probably a million
three
times.
times a day, every day,
Say more.
every day, every day. When the power goes out, or I've agreed to meet a client and I'm pedaling down some dusty ass roads of the jungle for 6 hours, the buzzards are gonna pick my dried up body off. Like it's hot. It's hot. Things don't always go as planned. The infrastructure here is less than desirable.
And a lot of people don't know that, right? That's what stemmed and like lit a fire under my creator career was telling the truths about traveling to Tulum. Because most people think of it as being Cancun, where it's like, oh, they must have those amazing resorts and, you know, oh, what's the best all inclusive? And back then, I'm sure things have changed now.
They're changing. But
Yeah.
no, like
But
no.
still, there's not a lot of infrastructure there,
The entire beach road runs off generators. It's not even on the grid.
which is just wild to me. It is, yeah, it is not a built up place at all, but that's also part of the amazing adventure. And it's also part
I
of why
like the adventure, but just as much as I can love it, there's some days you're like, okay, I'm done. I'm done. Like, can I tap out now?
you're like, and let me go to my high rise apartment with the air conditioning.
Watching the toilet paper,
Oh, yeah.
good hot shower.
Oh, that was one thing that I was just so thankful for when I left Tulum. I was just like, I know that now that I'm no longer in Tulum, if I press flush on the toilet, it will actually flush. Whereas in Tulum, I'm like, what you got in store for me today?
I don't know. It's not a thing.
What do you love the most about Tulum still? And what do you hate the most about Tulum? So curious.
I love that it's every day is still an adventure because it is growing so much and I'm discovering so much.
Hmm.
I'll think I'm hating my life. I'll wake up and be like, I fucking hate this place. Get me out of here. And someone phones me, and next thing you know, I'm doing something really amazing in a really stunning, beautiful place. Like it is
Hmm.
a non-stop adventure.
Hmm.
Even though some days I'm logging 11 hours into my cell phone and I want to like fling myself in front of traffic, and then next thing you know, I'm like, no, I'm not. This is so beautiful. I'm
Tulum
so
really is beautiful. It is really beautiful. And not just the beaches. I mean, Tulum Beach is really
no.
beautiful, but like
It's
the
the most beautiful
jungle
beach
is
ever.
beautiful.
But the jungle and the cenotes and the lagoons and the things that
Yeah.
you just like, wow, nature here is pretty fabulous.
Actually, I guess when you think about how when you came out there, it was like, maybe I'll dabble in it for a minute and then like leave. I guess like what's the biggest change that you've had as a person being out there and adventuring and doing like what you love with dogs and being able to do and start a new career out there? Like
I
what's been
think
the biggest change in you?
confidence, and I've grown up a lot. 'Cause I think I remember even when I met you, you were like super intimidating because you were like a real content creator. No, so we used to be in a group and everyone was like a real content creator. And back in the day when we all started 3 years ago, Instagram was just photos.
Yeah.
And I didn't have professional photography equipment.
Mm.
So I was in a group with fellow content creators. You were the drone, Evis did his thing, everyone was
Mm.
talking professional photos. And I didn't
Mm.
have that. I had friends that were professional photographers, but I always felt like I didn't bring any
Mm.
enough value to the content creator space. And then when video content and a more uncurated, natural thing started happening, suddenly, oh, I bring value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that is one of the things I love the most about you is you're one of the realest ones out there. And actually, sorry, to two things. One, now that I have been doing the content creating, well, I also had just started creating content when I first met you, but I immediately jumped into drones because I was like, oh, wow, this looks fun AF. And it has been fun AF. But by no means did I consider myself a professional photographer then and now.
You are. You were doing YouTube, you were doing all these professional things like YouTube. For me, Instagram still was like, oh, look at me.
Yeah, my first 100 YouTube videos were shot and edited on my iPhone before I like brought anything else in. It's just like, I'm just willing to do the damn thing.
Then, though. That was like, you were like the fancy girl doing the good stuff.
You're so funny. But you're one of the realest ones out there because over the course of the last 3 years, the number of people who I've met on social media and traveled with and was just like, wow, you were not the person I expected. Like you are nothing like the person I thought you were on social media. And it's just, for me, it's such an important thing to authentically show up as yourself. And that when I meet people who have been following my content, they're like, yo, you're exactly what I thought. And I'm like, good. Like it should be.
Hey.
Oh, there's the dogs. That's all right.
We don't eat our friends, okay? Thank you.
We're having an authentic Tulum experience with Tulum dogs right now.
They were all napping, and I thought they were going to be fine. But what's that saying? When Debbie sleeps, the best offense is a good defense. So she's sleeping, and someone accidentally bumps her. She goes for your jugular. Because we're trying on the street. She's like, oh, if they're going to get me, I'm going to get you first. So I have to teach her to not.
Interesting.
Don't be a dick, Debbie.
Actually, speaking of unlearning, is there anything you had to unlearn from your old life to be able to step into your new life in Tulum?
A million things. A steady paycheck. You have to let go of. I remember when I first came here, even like when I wouldn't have Wi-Fi, I remember just driving down the beach road, and I was like, I don't get a signal. And I'd have a knot in my stomach. Like, what if my son's trying to reach me? What if something's on fire? What if something's happened? Girl, you're in Mexico.
Yeah.
If something is on fire, someone's like, you can't do shit anyways. But it took me a long time to let go of that. Like, it's okay if I'm off the grid, genuinely. It's okay. I can get to things later. And it's okay if 1 month I make $1 million and the next 2 months I make zero. That used to be really scary for me. I used to be like Rain Man every morning opening that banking app, like, and you just let go of so many different expectations, and you have to go easy and kind on yourself because we're doing something that's so public, and you'll make a grand announcement like, I'm going to do this. And then you start doing that, and you're like we spoke before, like you try shit on and then realize it gets really itchy and you don't want it. And doing that publicly, you have to learn to be okay with that.
Actually, you know what? My Tulum content was the first time, it was my introduction, my harsh introduction to hate. The amount.
Oh, I've heard it. Trust me, it comes back to me. People are like, that girlfriend of yours. I'm like, what do you mean that girlfriend of mine?
Yeah, sounds about right. People hate hard. People hate real hard. But at the same time, you have to learn as a content creator, do you want to let that stop you? Because now it's not necessarily like, oh, well, they don't like my work, so blah, blah, blah. No, they literally hate me as a person because I am the content. And so it's difficult to be on the receiving end of a lot of hate. And at the same time, the beauty of helping people, or the beauty of, the people you get to meet along the way, or someone who tries
something. For comments, YouTube, TikTok are way scarier for hate.
Oh, agree. Yeah, agree.
Instagram is like a lot of peace, love, and happiness.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
It's like, oh
so
you were over in the land of hate, and I was over in the land of like daisies and rose petals.
Yeah, people go for the jugular, quite literally. I learned that real fast, but I also learned that I so frequently, like in the beginning, like, wow, like really took that personal. But at the same time, if someone has hate to give, it means they have hate inside. And I just happened to be present when
No,
they were
nothing
lashing
to do
out
with
to the
you.
world. Yeah, nothing to do with
They
me.
don't know you. They never met you. They don't. You got to get a thick
Exactly.
skin, and you have to know your worth. You really
Yes.
do. You have to know. You have to have a purpose. You can't just show up here for like your 2 minutes of fame. You've got to have like a
Purpose.
driving force behind you, or you're going to tap out.
It's that has rung so true in all the things I've done and in continuing to move forward because I was very clear about my purpose. Someone asked me recently, like, how are you able to like pump out so much drone content all the time? Aren't you like sick of making these tutorials or sick of talking about it? And I'm like, I don't help people to just fly drones. My purpose is I'm helping someone to explore this beautiful world from the best fucking view in the house, which is the sky. And
Well,
when
your
you have
why is bigger than that. Okay, I had to buckle down and put some work into it. That why is so
exactly,
much bigger.
it means all day I can create drone content and help people to fly drones. Even when someone repeatedly crashes into the tree, it's like, yo, we're going to get it eventually. We'll get it eventually. The next time you launch your drone, please, in the same way you look left and right when you cross the street, this time look up and down. Because when you launch underneath a tree, generally the tree is going
The
to
trees
be a
are
problem. The tree will win. Okay, so you've unlearned a lot of things. I would say for me, the biggest thing I've unlearned in this time to kind of step into who I am now is like, and I always felt like I was an authentic person, but really tapping into exactly who you are, like who you are, and really showing up as that person. Actually, I feel like I wasn't that good on my 2023 New Year's resolution. My resolution for this year was to be weirder. I wanted to be a weirder version of me, like just show up so freaking weird. Like there are plenty of weird things that I've done over the year, but like I feel like I could have leaned into that
No,
harder.
we know you. We know what you're gonna drink. We know you don't like the crash before the plane. Like you just know, but you have those things where you're like, I know her, and
True.
that's huge. And so many people don't differentiate themselves because they're too scared to show up as them, and they don't have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish
Yeah.
everyone had the balls to show up as them. That's be really tiring to show up not as you. That has to.
Exactly. Yeah, especially if you're creating content as you all the time. That's just freaking exhausting. Okay, wow. Okay, hold on. We just stemmed down the content creation route. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back to Tulum because I am very excited to make
Okay.
my return very soon. What's the thing you hate most about Tulum at this moment in time?
What is something?
Oh, I love
What
that you
price?
asked. Oh, the price. Has it gotten more expensive or the same?
It's the same ish, but you're like, well, I think once you know, like now, before I didn't know the local spots, I didn't
Hmm.
know where I could go for the best this and that. I was so new. So now I really understand the disparity between things. Or
Mm.
when the price to visit the lagoon has gone up so much that the locals can't visit it. I'm like,
Yeah, that's upsetting.
that yeah, that bothers me.
Yeah, that is a top misperception about Tulum that because it's Mexico, it's got to be cheap, and that is not the case at all.
No.
Given the person who travels there,
Like
um,
taxis, fuck you.
oh yeah,
I hate them. Like it's a nightmare. It's an actual. I'm trying to practice my Mayan as much as possible because if
oh
I speak
interesting.
Mayan, they're like, oh. If I say I live here, they're like, yeah, whatever, lady. Like, who cares? Same
Actually,
price.
use
No,
your Spanish these days.
it's so embarrassing because I spend so much time doing outreach in the local communities. I'm like, Stacey. So now my comprehension, I understand.
Hmm.
I go to meetings at City Hall and understand.
Oh
So my
wow.
comprehension is amazing, and I still get nervous about speaking. It depends on who my audience is. Like if
Hmm.
I'm all alone and there's no one watching me, I will chat away. But if
Mm-hmm.
there's someone with me who's got a better, Spanish better, then I'm all like, and I get weird. I'm
Yeah,
like,
no, that's a natural thing, right? Because in those types of situations, generally the person that speaks the language the best will just
they
take
take over.
ownership. Yeah,
Yes.
that's normal.
If you let me do my thing, I will communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Forming grammatically correct proper sentences, no. Vocabulary, oh, I'm good.
Who's traveling to Tulum these days? Is it like so blown up touristy that it's still the same? So when I was there, I felt like New York City was in the house, Miami was in the house. Like, but who comes to Tulum these days? I'm so curious.
It's so weird. You're like, how and like yeah, during lockdown, everyone that was like breaking the rules. I think the tourism is the same, but the people that are choosing to stay here longer are different.
Ah,
We had a lot of young people that were coming here during lockdown because they didn't want to get vaccinated
hmm
and they
hmm
were going to manifest their futures.
hmm
And
hmm
there was a lot of those little manifestation babes living here. But the reality was they were getting a little check from the government, our governments. And then when all that dried up, there was suddenly like this mass exodus from
Ah, interesting.
us.
Ah, interesting. Yeah. I mean, I had my moment in which I was like, I'm going to go live in Tulum. Um, it's such a pain in the butt to live in Tulum. Hats off to you, like props that you've been dealing with all the things.
Oh, you realize, like, I was taking on clients that were like, hey, can you pop down to the beach and film me during my yoga class? Or I have an Airbnb client who sends me a link. She's like, hey, do you mind going over and taking videos of this property? It's like deep in the jungle, and I ride a bicycle, and it's summer, and it's like 104. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm just gonna pop down to. You've ridden that beach road with me. I have a
Hold
camera.
on. Not only have I ridden that beach road with you, I have ridden that beach road on a scooter with you in the back.
Oh, the beach road is paved more,
It
but then
wasn't paved then.
it's scarier though, no, because even though you had my giant NFL linebacker on the ass of your bike going through potholes, we're going so slow that it's not going to be fatal. Whereas now, when they make roads
Oh,
smoother, I'm like, oh God, no, because the cars go
oh,
faster,
go
and then I find it
faster.
way scarier than the potholes.
That makes a lot of sense because there was a car that was driving totally out of control and way too fast. And I was on a bike and it was the closest I've ever been. And this is after riding thousands and thousands of miles on a road bike that I used to race in San Francisco. It was the closest I've ever gotten to just being like splattered off of the road. They ended
Yeah,
up
we'll ride
missing.
to the cenotes. We see people riding their bikes to the cenotes on the highway. We're like, girl, don't.
No,
Just because you can make that distance,
no.
just too many. Yeah,
It's way too fast. That's
don't do it.
scary. It's also Mexico. All right. Okay. So Mexico, you've rocked it for 3 years. Tons of adventure. What's next for you?
Tulum, it's been 3 years, and I miss a walkable city. Like used
Mm,
to live in New York City. I live downtown Toronto, and I'm like, I want to walk outside with my dog. I now have a dog
yeah.
where there's not 8 million strays that she's going to get in a little turf war with. I want to be able to step outside, walk to the coffee shop, window shop, go into little boutiques and little markets, and I want to be somewhere where my Spanish can advance. Because to live here three
Oh, yeah.
years and be in Gringaville, uh-uh. I love the people, I love
Mm,
the culture, I love so many things about this country, but Tulum isn't Mexico, Mexico. And I think
yeah.
I'm ready to do Mexico, Mexico.
That's so fascinating to me. I kind of felt the same way about when I lived in New York, living in Manhattan. You're not around New Yorkers. You're around other people who are visiting or temporarily living in Manhattan. It wasn't until I've spent more time in South Florida, i.e., the sixth borough, that I was around true New Yorkers. Like all of New York lives in South Florida. It's wild. But that makes sense about Tulum that, you're not really interacting with the local Mexicans. Yeah, you are, but I mean, not in the same way if you were in some other city. That's super
Or
exciting.
how many, even if anyone who lives near a beach, whether it's Florida or Mexico, like how many days am I spending at the beach? And I try
Yeah.
to think about it, and I'm like, girl, for the amount you're paying for your rent, are you going to go to the beach every day here?
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, no. I don't know why. I just don't. You're busy, you're working, you have a life,
Yeah,
responsibilities.
it's like it's there, and like it feels good that it's there, but you just don't go. Like even for me, I drone a lot, so I probably go more often than not. But I mean, I grew up in San Diego. My parents live 10 minutes from the beach. I don't even know the last time they went to the beach.
And I think if I want to go to a beach, flights within Mexico are so cheap. I could go to
Yeah.
any beach, anywhere, but hop on a little plane and go have a little beach getaway.
Yeah, that's true. What will you miss the most about Tulum?
The fact that you can wake up and be in a beautiful snow tip, beautiful lagoon, and the most beautiful ocean all in the same. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
And there's
cool.
some really cool content creators here. Like I work with amazing like drone photographers. I'm on a yacht one day creating content. I'm somewhere else. Like I really do like the adventure of content creation here.
Yeah, I love that. Actually, tell me how it's been rocking your age in Tulum. I'm so curious what you're going to say. I mean, one of my favorite things about you is like you're like me in that we both act like we are children.
Yeah. Oh
Like
yeah.
I am never going to grow up. I'm never going to grow up. Actually, I this Friday, November 17th starts the 40 days before I turn 40.
Really?
And yeah, I turned 40 this year.
No. Oh,
And
you're like
what I was like, what are the things that I've learned? You know what I mean? And like, because so frequently people are like, "Hi, I would never guess that you're whatever age, blah 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 blah." But I'm just like, age is really just a number, and it's really about the energy you put out to the world. One of the things I love about you is like, yeah, you're an old fucking bitch, but you amazing. Like, no one adventures harder. No one adventures harder than you. I remember when we were staying in Cancun, and I'm like, I'm gonna go capture the sunrise tomorrow morning. You want to do it? And like, we rolled out of bed at like what, like 5 or something.
I've done photo shoots where we're in El Cuyo in the Yucatan and sunrise is at like 4.
Yeah,
Like, okay, we got this.
yeah. Why not? Like,
And
why
then
not? You
before I
gotta have
polished
fun.
off 2 bottles of wine. I'm like, okay, yeah, okay, girl, you got this.
Exactly. So how's it been rocking your age in Tulum these days?
Well, now I look at it thanks to the Mexican sun. It took its toll on me.
I think you look the same. I really do. Maybe it's those
No,
Instagram filters. You got a filter on right now?
no,
Just kidding.
I
Just
don't use them anymore because they don't look like me, and then I get all weirded
Mhm.
out.
Yeah.
The time when I have to scroll, I think my age, I think because I've done the content creation and I kind of fell off for a while when I was doing social media management,
Yeah.
I just stayed active in my stories and I wasn't really doing
Hmm.
the content creation, which I regret. But then when I start doing it again, people are like, oh, you have a really engaged audience. Oh,
Hmm.
I respect you for what you're capable of doing. So then I'm
Mm.
invited, like, hey, Stacey, where they just built this bubble hotel on the beach.
Oh, no way.
They did, and they invited a bunch of the cool content creators, all in their 20s, and they were like, "We want Stacey to come too."
Yes. I love
So
that.
I go to all the events with a lot of the young people that are doing their thing, and they respect they like my energy, they like the joy I bring to what we're doing.
Yeah. That's what it all comes down to in life. It's all about energy. I I believe that 100%. Oh, wait, you know where I want to finish this conversation? Give me like a smattering of the weirdest experiences you've had in Tulum. I'll share one of mine, which was related to something you helped me with. I was trying to look pretty with my eyes open and smiling and blowing kisses while dressed as a mermaid in a freezing cenote after Carmen, I love Carmen, had put fishnets over my face so that she could create mermaid scales out of makeup, which immediately washed off and just made my whole face look like I was sunburnt.
Yeah, it's either pink and you look sunburned, or it's blue and you're like post mortem. It's one or the other, kid.
Oh my god. I was like, I don't feel beautiful, and swimming with a mermaid tail is like the least graceful thing I've ever done in my life.
No one needs to tie me at the ankles and throw me in the ocean, in a body of water.
Well, a body of water that is, what's the average temperature of a cenote?
Some of them are cold as hell, like really cold.
Yeah, like really, I'm trying to think of the actual temperature. I feel like, I don't know, like 60 or something. I don't know. It's really cold.
Help her, and I'd be a water taxi. Like a woman would want to be like a mermaid, and she'd bring her kid, and then we'd put her kid in a mermaid towel, and then I would have to like water taxi the floaty around to want like during. Girl,
That's
no,
an amazing, that's an
I
amazing
need
chain
a
of
water
thought there.
taxi to a toddler in a mermaid towel. But I did things. I think I just said yes to all the things, and so I found myself in these weird ass positions.
Okay, give me some more of these positions. The PG rated ones.
There's so many. I can't even think right. Like
Maybe we'll save it for the blog post.
there's so many. There's a lot. Oh, there's a woman I work for. I'm not going to watch this, I hope. But because she's uncomfortable in front of the camera and I'm so comfortable, and there's a lot of male content creators here right now,
Mm.
when she does photo shoots, it's just my job to keep all her like goodies tucked in.
Ah, interesting. Yeah, that's quite a job.
Okay, girl, let's make sure your necklace is faced the right way. You don't have a scrunchie on your arm. These little cutlets aren't hanging out of your swimsuit.
That's amazing. Wow. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing. All right, the life of Stacey, and what's next might be a little town in Mexico of some sort. I'm excited for your adventure. I already know the answer to this question, but today, are you a badass? Why or why not? Explain.
Oh, I'm a badass.
Tell me why. Tell me why.
Because I say yes to. I say yes. So many people are scared or nervous or not right now, and I've continually said yes.
That is so powerful. That's the other thing, though. It's not just saying yes, it's sometimes saying yes despite being scared or
It's
afraid.
not like the whole yes when you're supposed to say no because you need life boundaries. It's like the yes to adventure.
Yeah, yes
Yes,
to
I will
adventure.
try that. Yes, yes, not yes, I'm going to take on a workload that demeans me. Like the yes to adventure, the yes to trying something new, the yes to shit that scares the hell out of you. The adventure part.
That so many people ask me, like, how are you not afraid? Like, how are you able to say yes? And it's like, I am afraid, but I'm more afraid of not taking the adventure.
And the worst thing someone said to me, they were like, well, what happens if none of this works? Like, what happens if a year from now you're like poverty stricken and it didn't work out? I was a bartender. I could just go right back and say, here's your Guinness, sir. Like it's not like you know what I mean? I can go right back to where I started. I won't ever regret trying this and I don't think I'm going to fail. I think I'm gonna continue to do very well and grow.
Yeah, I
But yeah,
love that belief.
we don't keel over for trying scary new things.
It's so fucking true. It's so true.
Yeah.
Because even if you do fail, like, so what? Then you pick yourself up again and then you do something else or you go back to what you did or whatever it
Yeah.
is.
It's okay.
Yeah, it is okay.
Yeah.
I feel like too often people need everything figured out and don't want to try something unless it's guaranteed going to work. And that is just living life way too safe,
I
way
have
too
so
safe.
many friends that are talented. I have a friend that's super talented. She can make design website templates. And she's like, but the other people are better at it. And I can't do it until I do this. And I can't, she's been stagnant. She doesn't have an Instagram page. I'm like, okay, if you're scared to show up on camera, what about Pinterest? What about LinkedIn? What about all the other platforms where maybe you
Mhm.
don't need to be the shining personality that I am? Like you can do other things, and people are just so scared to put their work out there because they're scared of the rejection, and then
Yeah,
they stay
rejection.
stagnant.
Yeah. As humans, we so badly want to be connected and be accepted.
Oh, I suffered from that wanting to be liked part.
No.
So I would like devalue my work. So I was like, I just really want them to think I'm good at it and like me. So I'm going to work this horribly, ridiculously low price. Girl,
No.
no, I'm over that.
Yeah. We ain't got time for that.
No, I don't.
Tell people, where can we find you?
Hot flashes and boarding passes on Instagram. And I have a jazzy website, hotflashesandboardingpasses.com.
Hell yeah. And all of that will be in the show notes for you, along with a video for you to review of ants taking away a dog's testicle while Stacey was at a clinic. Fantastic. So make sure you check that out. Connect with us and connect with Stacey, and we will see you in the next one. I think you can see why I love this woman. Stacey's one of the realest ones out there, and being true and authentic to who you are and what you want in life, in my opinion, is just a must. Life is too short to be doing all the things that make everyone else happy. You got to take care of yourself first, and you got to be true to yourself. Be the person that you want to show up as in the world. Connect with me, connect with Stacey. Go do the damn thing that you've been curious about or been wanting to do. Go forth, be badass. We'll see you in the next adventure. Ciao.